Good morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela. I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady and I am back from Australia with a mill end bag. Now, this one, I'm hoping, I really am, that it's going to surprise us. But the only way to know is to get down on the table underneath that camera, take it out and have a guess. So, is this that new Granny Square yarn that everyone has been raving about over in America that's made its way to Australia, although it's only available in America and Canada, unless you import it? I don't know. Let's go and see. So here we go. This is the yarn ball. It's got the right amount of colour changes in it, I assume, for the different yarns. So I've got my tablet to the side. I'm sorry, I've turned the brightness down as much as I can in the hopes that you can see it, or at least see a part of it. Now, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 different colourways. So now I've got to break this down. And this has got oranges, purples and blacks. So let's start with the blacks. This first one, no. Why did I start at that end? Oh yeah, because there's only a few blacks now. It's not going to be that one. That's got green in it. So the only one is this one left here that looks more red than anything. But what does it look like in the block? Okay, so this one has got reds. It starts with a blue, then it has a yellow, red, and black. Why did I have to pick up one that resembled possible poppies? Okay, I don't know though. Let's unravel and have a look. What have we got? Because of course I will need to find out, one, if they're all the same size anyway, won't I? Right, so there's the end of one, there's the start of the next. Okay, so I don't know if this has been cut in the right spot or not either. Oh. So I'm just going to keep unravelling them until I find a repeat. Okay, and then on top of that, I really should have put this on my spinner. Right, there's a white, so grab that end. That can sit up there with that one. Okay, that seemed quite short compared to others. Then we've got a black. So, in theory, any of these... Right, so in theory, if it ends in black, okay, I'm either going to have a white, a blue, or a something square there. Let's just keep unravelling and hope for the best. Right, so we've got black. But looking at it, we've got 5 rounds of black, 5 of this pinky purple, 4, 2, and then the white. So why do I think it might be the white that's the start? But again, it doesn't match the colourways. Right, unravel the black. Let's keep going with my unravel idea. And we'll see if we can work out which colourway is the shortest. Come on, black. Spin, spin, spin to me. Crikey, this black goes on forever. Right. That's a good thing, isn't it? There it is. There's the end of the next row. Now, is this pink any? Nope, it's not the same as the rest. I must be bat crazy doing this. Fingers crossed though. Hold on. What colour was I meant to be on? Have I changed colour? Yes, I did. I changed colour and didn't even notice. Right. There's like an orangey one there. Have I already got that in the set? Yes, it's the same colour as the start colour. Right, so fingers crossed. Let's go down this. And we'll see if any of these colourways come up shorter than the others. Oh, looking like we're getting to some ends here. They're all in tears and a tangle. Oh, I did such a good job with this, didn't I? Right, okay, so we've got white that's coming up shortest. What's the next? I don't know because there's a wonky end. Okay, and what's the longest colourway? Okay, it might not be very accurate because I'm having to untangle these as I go. So there we go. Let's have a look. What we got? Oh, okay. So we've got white's the shortest. Remember white. Remember white. And then we'll keep scooting down, and we'll see. Now, is this looking positive? Or is this looking negative? Ah, black is a definitely longer than the other one. Right, so what was it? It was black and white, wasn't it? So let's find the start. Let's go all the way back. Hopefully I haven't knotted this up too much. Yep, she has. Okay, come on. Right, how are we doing? Nope, we're still not there, gang. Right, there's the black. Right, so the black would be the outside colour, which means we're starting with the white. Hopefully it's attached to the black. Was it? I can't remember. Can you remember? Oh, come on. I'm too excited. This is just insane. Because remember, oh, there we go. There's the white. Right. Okay, so what was I meant to start with? If I started with the white, I've forgotten already. Help! If I started with the white, it would end with the black. Now the black's the longest, so I'd need to start with the white, which means this has to be centre pulled, because otherwise it would be wrong, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'll be back in a minute after I've wound all this up, and I'll try and find the middle, which is the centre pull, and hopefully the black and the white would then be in the right order. Because if I cut the white here on this one, that's being thrown away, but the black's the end. Yeah, does that make sense? Hopefully it does. It does to me at the moment, but I am still on day 2 after landing on the plane, so my brain may be more jet lagged than normal. Right, now to hope that I can find some sort of a centre pull. Oh. Did I find something? There's something. Fingers crossed it's not too much of a yarn vomit. Oh. No, we're going to have yarn vomit. I've pulled out half the centre in one swoop. Come on. Straight from that end. Oh. Ha! Right. So, I've got a middle. Let's just find the white. There. Okay, so I've got a lump of black and a lump of purple left, but the white was clearly the shortest, so I'm going to dare it. I'm going to cut it. Where's my scissors? There we go. So Mikey says cut it as close to the colour change as possible. Now I've got to find the right hook. Right, okay, so according to the website, they're stating that I'm going to need a Susan Bates crochet hook in a US size 1-9 or a 5.5mm hook. Well, I don't do Susan Bates. I've got my cheap and nasties from a foreign country, okay, because I find them more comfortable. Now, it says you've got a whole how-to and you've got video and everything on their website, which I believe is Mikey's Hands anyway. But if not, I will put a link down below Mikey's video. Now, the pattern here, we've got a basic granny square pattern here, and it shows the joinings are all on the corners. So fingers crossed I can work with a 5.5 in this. My tension may be different to them, so I know I'm going to have to muck around for a bit and see how it goes and whether I actually have managed it, or should I say can manage it with this yarn, and whether it is even this yarn. It's all very, oh, is it, isn't it? Is it, isn't it at the moment? But keep everything crossed for me and stop cheating. You can join, you can watch along with me. Right, okay, so there was something about 4 inches or something. So let's guesstimate that I'm going to do it that length and we'll see. Right, so starting by chaining 4. I'm so happy I learnt to read charts. It's so much easier. Okay, so chain 4. Then we are going to 1, 2, 3 chains. That's classed as a double crochet, and then we've got another 3 chains. So it's a total of 6 chains. Okay, then we're going to work 3. Where are we? Yep, 3 double crochets into the ring. Where's my hole? There it is. And then they've got a chain 3 on the corner. This yarn does feel really thick. It's definitely not a DK. I'd say it's Aran weight or a little bit thicker. I'm not itching, so, and I'm not having any issues with my hands, so it's definitely acrylic. 2, 3. Back in again. Chain again. 1, 2, 3. I'm cutting it fine. Okay, so there's my colour change. So Mikey says drop it back a bit, drop down a hook. Shh, shh, quiet hook. And try again. Okay, because that was a little bit more than 1 stitch needed there. I don't want to pull up too tight on the tension though, and I was going quite loose with the larger hook. There we go. Oh, birds are moving into the neighbourhood. In other words, we've got a nest forming in the loft. Never got round to fixing that. Right, 1, 2, no. Okay. Gonna go back. Okay, try again. 1, until I can find the right hook for my tension. I've got a bit of to and froing to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward this section, and you can count how many times I rip it back. Okay, so slip stitch in. Now I've actually worked all the way down to a 4mm. Surely my tensions are not that bad, and yes, I did go back and recheck Mikey's video and he said leave 4 inches. I think I might swap that and jot that down and maybe reduce it a little bit more. So yeah, I am a little excited because that's the first round done, and it did make a granny square after a while. But let's see if the rest of these colours do the same. I best check the website pattern, so it took me far too long. Okay, so we are chaining up 6. Like that. Now, am I meant to turn? Nope, slip stitch over, chain up 6, add in 3. Okay. Oh, that's split. It's probably just the way I'm dealing with it. 1, 2, and 3. There is a chain 1, so I'm going to add the chain 1, which I don't normally do, to be honest. But 3 in the next square. It's hit it. That is brilliant. Okay, so I only had to rip it back the once, which is good going. And this really is exciting me now because I'm on to another colour. I know that this colour is longer than the purple was, and I know that the black, of course, or whatever the next colour is out, I know that all the colours are now in sequence and they're all longer than the previous. So it really does look like this is the colour changing yarn. So I'm going to get to give it a go without paying an exorbitantly stupid amount of money. Now, the bag contained 3 balls. It was priced at $12, which is poppy magic math, which isn't exactly the exchange rate. I cut everything in half because on average that's how the prices have worked out for me. So for £6, I've got 400 grams of this yarn, which is normally priced at a heck of a lot more for 140 grams. So I'm actually really chuffed. Now it's a case of how long will it take me to complete this square. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to fast forward it. You'll be able to see whether I've had to frog it back or not, and how many times. And I'm going to try and stay with this blue hook, but I may end up going up or down depending on what the yarn and how the yarn plays to how my tension plays and all the rest of it. So I've got hooks ranging from a 4 all the way up to, I think it was 5.5, wasn't it, the original colour the original size they said. So I am actually 2 hooks at the moment, 2 hook sizes smaller than what they say it should be because of my tension, and I'm not actually pulling it that tight or that loose. So it's a really strange one. But there are rumours that there is another company that's based in Australia that are making this same yarn, so it may be that brand and not actually the Yarnspirations brand that I'm playing with today. But let's get on with me doing the rest of this square, and then I'll see if I can colour match it with the colours that they have on their website. Right, catch you in a bit. Okay, so on to the next round. It's slipped straight in with the new colour, and I've done it again. Right, now for this last round. That took a while to get that purple to line up. What I did actually do was I got rid of one chain in the corner and a chain here and a chain here, and then pulled it tight. I'm really not liking that idea, because then it's going to make the other that slightly shorter than the others, but we'll see. What did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Final thoughts. Yes, this is that granny square yarn. It may not be one of their colourways. I'm gonna double check. If it is, I will put the colourway on screen now for you, the name anyway. Right, I'm heading off and downstairs for the rest of this evening. I'm gonna play with the rest of this ball and see what I can come out with, and whether I have to chop and change my hooks as much as I did during this tutorial. But I did notice that it was the 4 and the 4.5mm that I used the most, I think. And I definitely ended it in the smallest hook, so that I had enough here to sew in at the end. So I'll give you my final results in the morning. See you in a few seconds. Right, so now it's time for the update. Yes, that was in fact the granny square yarn. I'm quite shocked. I did manage to get it to work. The yarn didn't go flying across the room, meaning I hated it and I was never going to use it again. Well, it didn't when I was using it anyway. Now the main question was, how many would I get out of each of those balls? Now I've only worked through one of them, okay, so there's approximately a third of 400 grams. Oh, it's too early in the morning for this. For math, my brain isn't working. What was it, 133-ish grams per ball? Got there in the end. And I've managed to use up all of that one ball, and I have made a scarf. Well, it's a scarf at the moment. It's all joined together. but I'll probably end up frogging it back and making something else with these squares. But I managed to get not one, not two, not three or four, not five or six or seven, but eight squares out of that one ball. So in theory, if I do manage to make as many out of each ball, which I'm not too sure about, of course, because it depends on where the white starts and how many colours I end up losing at the beginning, I could in theory make 8, 16, 24. Yeah, 24 squares. Not enough to make a blanket, certainly not enough to make a top with, to cover this mass of skin and bone. I would love to say skin, just leave it at skin and bone, but we all know there's a bit of evil fat in there as well. So that's why I'm going to be stripping these back on the last round, which is the black, and then making something else with them. I don't quite know what as yet, but luckily I didn't close them off tightly. Now, but what I did do, I thought I'd best talk you through it, is to join these. I used the join as you go method rather than finishing them off and then using extra yarn to sew them up, like you are shown to do in quite a lot of the different videos that accompany this yarn. So what I did, are you ready? Get ready with your pen and paper for your notes. I might actually show you on the camera in a moment. I might be nice and undo one. But what I did was, on the square that I was going to be joining, I would do the first set of granny squares going along, okay, and then when I hit the corner, instead of chaining 3 after you've got your, oh, this is a nightmare, right, I'm going to show you on the camera, back in a sec. Okay, so as you saw, this was the square that I'd finished. Now I'm going to join it to this one. So I'm actually going to rip it back. All this ripping for this project's an absolute nightmare. Now I'm also going to not rip it back one side, I'm ripping it back 2. So then that gives me easy access for when it comes to joining and sewing in. So I take it all the way back to the corner where you've got your first 3 double crochets. Let's bring this camera down. Right, so you've got your 3 double crochets. I'm sorry it's black, that's just the last colour there, so it is going to be a little bit hard for you to see, but fingers crossed you'll be able to cope with it. Let's get that out of the way. Alright, I then find the corresponding corner on my scarf, okay, lay them back to back. I chain on the top square, which is the one you're working on, we chain 1, and then around the chain 3 on the back, you slip stitch through, that counts as your second chain, and then we do 1 more chain, that's your third. Then we place 3 double crochets into our corner section. Then going back to our back section, we are going to slip stitch around the chain in the middle there, between the corner square and then the corner stitch and the next one along. Hook over and jump straight in to the gap between the next stitches to work your next granny stitch. Then picking up the back one again, slip stitch around the chain, hook over and do your next granny stitch. Oh, my yarn's been caught. There we go. And you do this pattern all the way along until you hit the corner. So remember, no chain after your set of 3, your cluster of 3 double crochets. You slip stitch straight onto the back section and then come back to the front for your next granny stitch. Now it's going to look like you've completely mucked up when you get to this last section, but you haven't, okay? You'll have 2 stitches on the back and 1 on the front to work. So we slip stitch into the back, do your first 3 grannies in, your first 3 double crochets, sorry, into the corner stitch. Then this is where we chain 1, slip stitch to the corner of the bottom one, turn your work, then place 3 more grannies, place 3 more double crochets or the granny stitch into that corner. Then chain 1, we're not joining anymore because we've done all the joining along the side that we were working on. And we just carry on the pattern and hope that there's some yarn left over for sewing. And that is how you join your granny square. Now I'm not going to carry on because, as I said, I'm going to be undoing this anyway and redoing later. All you need to make sure is that when you're doing this, you're holding your squares exactly the same way each time you add, so that this little ridged area, although it will work its way out after a wash and stuff, and it will flatten, but at least that way you know all your granny squares are the same way round. Okay, so it's time for my final thoughts on this yarn. Yes, it's a lovely gimmick. Yes, if I could get it to work as well as I did on that one that I showed you, I would be over the moon. But to be honest, I would rather pick my own colours for a granny square. Although these ones don't seem to be that bad in choice, because in the overall scheme of things, frogging it back the amount of time I actually did just to create the square, to get it all lined up and everything else, wasn't really good time management for me. It would have been quicker for me to make the squares and sew in all the ends. You know, put it like that. For me personally, I hate ends, but in this instance, I would rather have had the ends to sew in at the end of the project, because of the length of time it physically took me to make each square and for the yarn to actually work for me. I was having to change between 2 to 3 hook sizes per square, and I'd written them down because I had them on this video. And so I wrote them down so that I could copy exactly the same steps for the next square, and it didn't work. Okay, it just didn't work. Each square had a different combination of hooks for me. Also, a couple of other things. Yes, the yarn felt really lovely to work with. It slid off my hook beautifully, and it didn't cause any irritation in my hand, but crikey, once you frogged it back once, it started splitting, and the more you frogged it, the more it would split. Uke, splitting. So personally, on a scale of will I buy this yarn again, the answer is no. I've tried it, it was nice. Now I know what all the hype's about, I can move on to the next yarn to play around with. What am I going to do with those other 2 balls? I'm thinking maybe I could separate them up to maybe 2 squares a pop, and see if any other UK creators want to give it a go. At least that way they've got enough yarn there for 2 squares and they can make, I don't know, a little pencil case or something with it. So if you're a UK creator and you want to get your hands on a bit of that yarn, drop me an email. Alright, it's just a case of you want to try it. There's only going to be 8 squares maximum, so there's not really a lot you can do with 8 squares unless you just want to make a scarf. But yeah, drop me a message and we'll work out sending it out to you. Right, now that is it for me for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's a little bit longer than my normals. Sorry about that, but hey, I thought it was only fair that you saw how many times I had to rip this thing back before I could get it to work. Right, that is it for me for today. I will see you all really, really soon. So please remember, stay chilled, stay happy and keep crafting. Goodbye, everybody.